Life beneath Tao, the demon's path. The sun was dipping low in the sky, casting its warm light over the terracotta roofs and bustling streets of the Tao Empire. From the great walls surrounding the city, smoke spiraled lazily upward from the Tartarian district, where blacksmiths worked the day's final bellows and miners trickled back from their shifts. The air smelled of metal and earth, but also of grilled skewers, herbal tea, and the fragrant scent of flowering trees planted along the city squares. Sol adjusted the brim of his hood as he walked, the hem of his robe brushing against the stone streets. In the bright light of day, it was hard to tell that he was a demon. His sharp eyes flicked over street vendors calling out to passers-by, children weaving through the crowd, and old men hunched over a game of stones near a small shrine. Though the Tao Empire thrived above the surface, there was always a murmur of something greater stirring beneath. The Tartarian mines were alive with industry, the lifeblood of the empire flowing through veins of metal and ore. For the people of Tao, the mines were their future, a constant promise of prosperity. But for Sol and the other demons of the hidden empire below, the mines meant something different. Though most of the demons took pride in their work, Sol always sensed something deeper, an itch he could never quite reach, a restlessness woven into the stone. Not that it concerned him too much. The mines had been dug for generations without incident, and Empress Tao Vhal herself had decreed that the new tunnels would bring wealth beyond imagining. He trusted her. It wasn't his job to question orders. Demons like Sol thrived among the Tao, blending in as part of the Empire's intricate tapestry. Some demons lived openly, running shops or serving in the guard. Others, like Sol, preferred to move through the world unnoticed, watching from the edges. His magic was subtle, a talent for slipping between shadows, for moving unseen and unheard. The people above might whisper their superstitions about demons and their tricks, but the truth was, most of them didn't care. They were too busy living their lives, wrapped up in trade deals and festivals, in family squabbles and dreams of promotion. To them, demons were just another part of the Empire's strange, vibrant landscape. The mines and the future. Sol drifted down a narrow side street toward the Tartarian mines, where carts of ore clattered on iron rails and the rhythmic hammering of pickaxes echoed from below. The entrance to the mines was busy with workers exchanging tools, leaning against carts and sharing stories over clay cups of cold tea. As Sol passed by, a miner offered him a nod, wiping the sweat from his brow. "Long day down there, eh?" Sol smiled faintly. "Always is," he replied, though he rarely lifted a tool himself. His work was quieter, observing, listening, passing messages through channels that only the Empress and her closest allies understood. Rumors drifted easily in places like this, woven into the fabric of everyday life. Some said the Empress was searching for something in the mines, something more valuable than mere iron or copper. But to most of the miners, it was just talk, idle speculation to fill the quiet between shifts. Few of them gave any real thought to what lay beyond the rock and stone they worked so tirelessly to extract. Sol had heard these rumors too, and while most dismissed them as fantasy, a small part of him wondered if there might be something to them. The Tartarian mines ran deep, far deeper than any maps revealed. He had ventured into the lower tunnels only once, out of curiosity, and had come back with the distinct feeling that something old slept beneath the rock. But he had never spoken of it. There were things better left unsaid. A city at peace. The streets of the Tao Empire were alive with the quiet hum of evening life. Lanterns flickered to life above shop doors, casting a warm glow across the stone streets. Musicians played soft tunes on stringed instruments in the markets, while vendors packed up the last of their goods for the night. The smell of spices and roasting meat drifted on the breeze, mingling with the scent of flowering trees. To outsiders, the Tao Empire might have seemed like a place perched on the edge of chaos, teetering between tradition and ambition. But to those who lived here, it was home, complex and flawed, but vibrant with life. Even the demons, once feared and mistrusted, had carved out a place for themselves within its walls. For Sol, it was as good a place as any to live. The Tao had their battles, but they also had their festivals, their markets, and their traditions. The mines might run deep, but as long as the gold and iron kept flowing, the people would remain content. Whatever lay beneath the surface could wait. A subtle shift. As Sol made his way through the Tartarian district, the evening air cooling against his skin, he caught sight of a familiar face. One of the Empress's envoys, draped in a dark robe that shimmered with enchanted thread. The envoy's expression was tight, urgent. Something was happening. "Sol," the envoy called, beckoning him closer. "The Empress has new orders." Sol's brow lifted, though he kept his tone light. "New orders already? I thought we were just getting comfortable." The envoy didn't smile. "She wants the lower tunnels expanded. Tonight. Deeper." For a moment, Sol said nothing, his gaze drifting toward the dark entrance of the mines. There was something unsettling about the idea of digging deeper, something that whispered at the edge of his thoughts like a memory half forgotten. But he pushed the feeling aside. This was Tao Vhal's will, and her will was law. "All right," he said, nodding toward the tunnel. "Let's get to it, then." The envoy gave a sharp nod and disappeared into the crowd. Sol lingered a moment longer, staring into the mouth of the mine where shadows curled like smoke against the stone. The first tremor. As Sol stepped into the mine, the familiar sense of earth and iron filled his senses. The tunnels were alive with activity, miners hauling carts, blacksmiths sharpening tools, and foremen barking orders over the clatter of machinery. Everything felt normal, but just as Sol took his first steps down the sloping passageway, a tremor rippled through the ground beneath him, faint but unmistakable. The other workers paused, glancing at each other in confusion. A miner chuckled nervously, shaking his head. "Just the earth settling," he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. But Sol wasn't so sure. He rested a hand against the stone wall, feeling the subtle shift beneath his fingertips. It wasn't the first tremor he'd felt in the Tartarian mines, but something about this one felt different. He gave a small shrug as if to shake off the thought and continued deeper into the tunnel. After all, whatever lay beneath the earth could wait. For now, the Tao Empire was at peace, and the mines had work to do.